Hello everybody and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Now today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I wanted to have a look through some of the new patch because it seems pretty drastic, some of the things that are going to be coming through. I guess this will be all for post-champions and obviously the off-season. So I'm just going to get right into this. I wanted to have a look at everything that is changing in patch 704. Now, from what has been said, it seems like they want to reduce the amount that ultimates are used. A lot of abilities seem to be being nerfed. It almost feels like they're turning it back into, well, not back into, but more of an old school FPS, like trying to make it so that maybe shooting matters a little bit more. We'll have to wait and see, but it does look like a lot of the sort of like clutter utility things that can last an awful long time are either being nerfed slightly with, as you could see, like sort of changes to the amount of ultimate points, or just, well, some stuff seems to be being nerfed into the ground altogether. Aftershock being changed, I don't necessarily mind. Obviously, it going from 3 to 2 does mean that the overall damage is going to go down at least a little bit, which I guess it depends on the pacing of it. Like the amount, if it's just the same 2 ticks with the amount of damage, it might not be as bad, but I guess with destroying certain bits of utility, that might become a little bit more of a problem for some of the combos that need to be done. And also you might be able to avoid it with it not being 3 ticks. Maybe if you manage to dodge the first one, you're going to be okay. Obviously the ultimate going up to 9 points. We're now getting to quite a hefty amount for ultimates, and especially with maps like you have to consider, like it looks like Fracture, I think it was Fracture and was it Pearl that's going to be going out of the pool. So obviously Fracture's one of the ones where you're able to really sort of build up a lot of those ultimate points. So I think that'll be something that affects a bit, but that's definitely one of the milder nerfs we've seen come through. Brimstone, Orbital Strike. I honestly think that for when it's actually utilized, 8 ultimate points is probably fair. It's a pretty damn strong ult. ReEquip after the Prowler. Again, it says slightly longer. I don't know if they have the actual numbers anywhere, but it just seems nice and vague. Maybe that'll be a little bit further down. They're going to actually inform us of how long everything is. The impact area does 10 damage per second on the mosh pit. Now, if the damage of the mosh pit stays the same, that's actually pretty impactful, because before, you could basically just run around in the mosh pit as much as you wanted. Now, 10 damage per second is not a huge amount, especially because it doesn't take that long for the mosh pit to go off anyway. But it might just mean that you take enough initial damage, or it makes people actually move out of it a little bit more. This one's just straight outrage. I can't believe they made Little Bro weaker. Like, that's just rude. Like, the dude already only took a couple of bullets to kill, so I guess that means that the sort of after-plant stuff might be a little bit more difficult. Thrashes Exploding had a little makeover to make it easier to see and understand the area is affected. I do think that that's actually going to be quite helpful. Just mainly because I think, especially as a spectator, you'll sometimes see just the dive off into the distance, and you have absolutely no idea if you've actually managed to hit someone, or, well, obviously there's like voice lines and stuff, but I mean, like, from a spectator point of view with everything going on, I think that will be quite helpful. Lockdown going up to 9. Again, the thing is, they've mentioned, like, I think they mentioned reducing HP of shootable utility, but they haven't seemed to do it with anything like the lockdown, so it seems like that's still going to be pretty tanky. And I think with the changes, like, bear in mind, most people now are having to use, like, aftershocks and combine with shock darts and stuff to actually manage to do enough damage to break it, so I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that ult has definitely come back into fashion. The movement velocity on Paranoia is actually going to be quite interesting, because obviously the way it worked before is if you sort of like run forward, that would also, I guess, propel the Paranoia a little bit further forward. So I guess that's actually going to nerf the range of it quite a bit. I still think it'll be a strong ability. I don't think it's going to change too much the usage of Omen, but I think that's definitely something to consider. Now, from what I gathered from having a brief read of this already, they're just saying that Sky was used a lot. And yeah, she lacks weaknesses, reduced this. So basically they're just saying, they're giving you a reason as to why they're nerfing her. Max duration, obviously I think that's going to be the distance you're able to flash. Which also, I believe the way it works with Guiding Light is the longer you hold the flash, the longer people are flashed for. So I wonder if that's going to also be a comparable change. If you'll hit them, because if you hit the max flash longer, that'll be interesting. That'll be something to consider. Trailblazer going down again. It's a bit of a change, but I guess less bullets to destroy the Trailblazer would definitely be helpful. And also the same for Seekers, reducing the health of Seekers. Now, bear in mind, most people, when they spot the Seeker, you can sort of just spam and destroy the other ones. There's a decent chance that that ult will be a little bit less impactful. And I also think one of the main benefits of Seekers was the fact that it was actually quite low on the ult orb. So the fact that that's gone up a bit, be interested to see again if that's going to be affected too much. I feel like Sova mains, every single patch, just have to cry a little bit. Like, you had the Shock Dart nerf. Now even the recons are taking a hit, so you're only going to get a couple of pulses. I guess, that again, like when you look to pro play, I don't know if that will have the most drastic impact, just because you're literally talking about people who either shoot the dart immediately or will have probably not spotted it, and 1 or 2 pings will normally be the absolute maximum you get. So I think that might affect ranked maybe a little more, but again, it's always good to wait and see. Viper's Pit going up, again, a very strong ultimate, especially in the post-plant, and Viper's still very much within the meta of pro play, so I don't think that there's going to be much in terms of a difference there. Like, you just have to farm up an extra ult. I like the fact that they are reducing them a little bit, though, because it does feel like in pro play at the moment, there's an ultimate every single round. Like, teams are very good at their sort of orb management and stuff. Start time increase. So is that how long it takes for the gravity well to actually pull you in? Okay. We notice a large power disparity between Astra's gravity well and Nova Pulse. Our goal is to create... So, oh, okay. So basically, the Nova Pulse will now take less time. That seems like an odd one. I'll be honest, of all of the ones I've seen so far, because I don't think Astra was in a particularly overpowered spot by any degree. Like, Brimstone had come back in. I'd say the controllers were fairly balanced, maybe favoring Omen a little bit. So they've kind of nerfed the gravity well and buffed the Nova Pulse. But I also don't... The gravity well is just a better piece of utility as a whole because it's used to stop people. So the start time being increased, that means it's going to be a lot easier to get past it, right? I don't know if that's... I think that might hurt. Like, I don't know if this is going to make that much of a difference. Maybe. I guess it'll be slightly easier to stun people. And audio is now blocked completely. That's good. Yeah, I like that, because the Cosmic Divide, especially if you could hear sort of muffled sound. Now, obviously, this is the big one. I feel like they are definitely in the realm of trying to do as much damage to Jett as humanly possible. So the dash has been nerfed again. I don't really mind it too much. I do think that the only problem is that if Jett loses her mobility, she loses the thing that makes Jett Jett. So I am quite surprised that, again, they're going to nerf the mobility. Activation wind-up increased as well, so it's... Jett's ability to activate it reactively. Yeah, so it's basically going to make it that a little bit more difficult to get away. So you can activate it, but it will take longer. I guess, again, it's still a decent time, but this is the main thing, because, say, for example, defensive side, you're going to go for operator picks. You now have a lot less time to do that. Like, you can't just preemptively do it. You have to do it a lot later than you would have done before. So, much more risk involved. I don't mind that change. I think that's fine. Cloudburst duration going down to 2.5 seconds, though. That's going to be interesting, because a lot of ways Jett get out of, like, the bullshit positions is just to spam those smokes, but they're not going to last anywhere near as long. I still think you're going to get the same plays of just throwing one in and dashing into it, but there's going to have to be no hesitation. Like, you don't get that same couple of second window, so I don't know. I think that will actually take quite a decent... And this is another interesting one. Being able to re-equip your gun, because a lot of people would just dash into a smoke, pull out a shorty, or throw a smoke down and then equip a shorty. So if the equip time's gone up, that might be a little bit more difficult to do. This one, I think, is the kicker, though. Like, getting rid of an updraft. Firstly, all of those opening picks you go for with, like, a Blade Storm, you can't do that anymore. You can't go over the top of the map without boosting up onto something else. So that's going to be a lot more difficult. I think outside Haven, for example, a lot of the time you double updraft. Ascent, similarly, although Ascent, there might be a few spots where you can jump up on things, but that's definitely more of an intriguing one. And also just then, what the reason they've done it is for movement. And I do definitely agree that the movement that Jett gets, like, say, for example, Haven's a great example. You go peeking out on A, you fuck your dash, you just updraft twice, and it's very difficult for them to catch you. But I don't know. I think that that's a pretty hefty nerf. Bladestorm going up to 8. Again, I think that's absolutely fine. Oh, powerful, ultimate, no. Okay, all of this is just an explanation. I thought they were going to say something about it not resetting anymore, and that would have been absolutely wild. I definitely think that JETT took the nastiest hit. I'm also interested to see, like, the Gravwell. I think that one intrigues me. And obviously Sky, they've tried to do Sky nasty. I think everything else seems pretty reasonable. I don't, like, Wingman, I don't think it's going to change. Thrash, obviously. The Mosh Pit, if anything, has been buffed. And then it's just really Breach that they've tried to reduce. So reduce a couple of initiators. I think they want Gecko to be played more. That definitely seems like Gecko hasn't been in the pool a massive amount. But let me know what you guys think. Because I think that some of these changes are good. I think that I obviously with Phoenix and Yoru, they want those agents to be played quite a bit more. So I think with JETT being so ridiculously popular, it's no surprise that they're still trying to nerf a little bit. I also think that that could, in theory, increase the value of Raze, which, hey, I hope they don't nerf Raze, because I really like where Raze is at the moment in the game. But yeah, as I said, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like these sort of videos, just having a look at the different patches. I'm trying to bring some different styles of content every once in a while, and I'm really excited to see how all of this will play in the off-season. Either way, see you soon.